Béla Kiss, an enigmatic figure of the early 20th century, lived an unassuming life in the suburbs of Budapest, concealing a ghastly secret within the walls of his unremarkable home. But behind the facade of normalcy lurked a predator, whose heinous acts would send shockwaves through the community and confound investigators for decades to come. In 1912, a series of bizarre events would unfold, unraveling a string of disappearances linked to Béla Kiss. His secluded dwelling, a place of unspeakable horrors, became the epicenter of a mystery that continues to baffle criminologists and historians alike. Who was Béla Kiss? How did he manage to evade capture, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and unsolved disappearances? Welcome to Claws and Crime Chronicles, where we dive deep into the dark and enigmatic world of true crime and mysteries. Stay tuned as we uncover the chilling details and delve deeper into the mystifying case of Béla Kiss, a name that still sends shivers down the spine of those who dare to explore the darker realms of true crime. Béla Kiss hailed from Isak, Austria-Hungary, born to János Kiss and Verona Varga. During the early 1900s, he relocated to a rented house at 9 Kossuth Street on the outskirts of Szentkoda, a serene town adjacent to Budapest. Described as a striking figure with blonde hair and vivid blue eyes, Kiss, a tinsmith by profession, entered military service at the age of 37 in 1914. He was self-taught in his craft, and apart from his work, he dabbled in astrology and allegedly had an interest in the occult. Despite lacking formal education, he displayed an impressive depth of knowledge in art, literature, and history, engaging in conversations with the town's intellectuals. Regarded as friendly and industrious by his fellow villagers, Kiss was known for hosting gatherings at a local hotel, earning a reputation for his generosity. He was highly regarded, particularly by the women in town who viewed him as an eligible bachelor. Kiss had been married twice and was a father to Aranka and Alanka. After his wife, Marie Kiss, purportedly left him for another man, an artist by the name of Paul Bihari, he hired Mrs. Jakubek as a housekeeper in 1912. Given the limited options for female companions in Szentkoda, Kiss maintained an apartment in Budapest and advertised in local newspapers, leading to correspondence with interested women. Local gossips in Szentkoda had observed a consistent influx of young women from Budapest visiting Kiss's residence, yet none of the townspeople, not even Mrs. Jakubek, had the chance to meet or interact with these transient visitors. Kiss was never on intimate terms with his neighbors, even though he was well-liked. Townsfolk also noticed that Kiss had collected a number of metal drums. When the town police questioned him about the drums, he told them that he filled them with gasoline in order to prepare for rationing in the oncoming war. When World War I began in 1914, he was conscripted and left his house in Jakubek's care. Detective Chief Dr. Charles Nagy of the Budapest Police received a distressing call in July 1916 from Martin Krasinski, a landlord in Szentkoda. The landlord suspected a murder had taken place on his property, a house previously rented by a soldier named Béla Kiss. There were rumors circulating that Kiss had become a prisoner of war or might have died in battle. The landlord, preparing to re-rent the property, inspected it and made a shocking discovery. Upon inspection, the landlord found several large metal drums outside the house. Puncturing one, he was overcome by a putrid smell, unmistakably that of human decomposition. Seeking urgent action, he pleaded with Dr. Nagy to investigate immediately, as the house could not be leased until the matter was resolved. Dr. Nagy, accompanied by 2 detectives, rushed to Szentkoda. Upon their arrival at the Kossuth Street house, The landlord approached them eagerly, but Mrs. Jakubek, entrusted with safeguarding Kiss's belongings, vehemently protested the intrusion. Confirming the landlord's suspicions, Dr. Nagy had one of the metal drums opened, revealing a preserved body of a young woman with long dark brown hair inside a sack, along with the rope used to strangle her. The drum's contents, including wood alcohol, had preserved the body. Mrs. Jakubek recounted her bewilderment over the large metal canisters that Béla Kiss had brought to his house prior to the war, claiming the containers held gasoline for the impending war. Upon examination, the detectives discovered that the 6 remaining metal drums contained the bodies of more young women, all victims of strangulation. After arranging for a mortician to collect the bodies, the detectives expanded their search, unearthing additional buried bodies preserved in alcohol. Identifying these victims would be feasible with proper names. Detective Chief Charles Nagy initiated urgent actions, alerting the military to immediately apprehend Béla Kiss if he was still at the front lines. Simultaneously, he detained and interrogated the distressed housekeeper, then took precautions to prevent any messages from reaching Kiss, fearing an accomplice might warn him of the investigation. Despite the challenges posed by the chaotic army and the commonness of the names Béla and Kiss, Nagy concentrated on identifying the victims. Sparse clues, like embroidered initials and faint markings on clothing, offered little assistance in their identification. Inside the meticulously kept house, Mrs. Jakubek, visibly distressed, pleaded her innocence, claiming ignorance of the gruesome happenings. She portrayed Kiss as a kind and generous man who had treated her well. She guided Nagy and his team to Béla Kiss's bedroom, where nothing significant was found. Then she informed Dr. Nagy that it led to Kiss's secret chamber, strictly off-limits as per his instructions. Producing an old-fashioned key from her apron, Mrs. Jakubek unlocked the door, revealing a room lined with bookcases filled with numerous volumes. Apart from a desk and chair, there was no other furniture present. Inside the desk, Dr. Nagy unearthed an extensive collection of correspondence between Kiss and multiple women, along with an album containing photographs of over 100 ladies. Concern gripped Nagy as he feared the count of victims might exceed those already discovered. Returning to the letters, Nagy found that most were categorized into 74 packets, each grouping mail from the same woman who responded to Kiss's newspaper advertisements seeking marriage. Out of 174 proposals, Kiss entertained correspondence with 74 women, leading them on with promises of marriage. As Nagy delved deeper into the letters, a disturbing pattern emerged. Béla Kiss had been swindling these women, siphoning their savings and financial resources, some dating back to 1903. Taking a break from the letters, Nagy perused the numerous books in the room, astounded by the extensive collection related to poisons and methods of strangulation. Puzzled by how Kiss managed to correspond with and invite so many women to his home without arousing suspicion about his true intentions, Nagy pondered the sinister depth of Kiss's manipulations. Dr. Nagy initiated the conversation with Mrs. Jakubek, but her fear hindered her cooperation. After calming her nerves, she recounted her care for Béla Kiss since his arrival in Sinkota in 1900 when he was a handsome 23-year-old. Expressing fondness for him, she vouched for his kindness and asserted her belief in his innocence regarding the women's deaths, claiming it was a mistake. Although she acknowledged the numerous women visiting Kiss over the years, Mrs. Jakubek insisted she didn't know their names and rarely conversed with them. Being a servant, she distanced herself from their interactions, asserting that Kiss's dealings with these city women were not her concern. Despite Nagy's persistent inquiries, she grew increasingly distraught, vehemently proclaiming her innocence. Nagy then presented a document Kiss's will, retrieved from his desk, indicating a substantial inheritance for Mrs. Jakubek. She adamantly denied any knowledge of it, breaking into tears. Subsequently, Nagy and his team interviewed Kiss's neighbors and townsfolk acquainted with him. They expressed their liking for Kiss and saw nothing unusual in a charismatic, unmarried man entertaining numerous women. In fact, the married men in town admired him. Nagy reached out to police departments and locations where he found women corresponding with Béla Kiss. Over time, he grew confident in understanding Kiss's method of luring victims safely. Contrary to Nagy's expectations, Kiss didn't write incriminating letters to his victims. Instead, he strategically placed ads in matrimonial columns, seeking details about the woman's financial status. Béla Kiss showered women with attention and money, specifically targeting those without close relatives to avoid suspicion upon their sudden disappearance. Letters from these relationships often detailed significant sums sent to him, sometimes their entire savings, and he swiftly eliminated those at risk of police involvement. Dr. Nagy connected victim initials to Catherine Varga, a wealthy widow who relocated to marry Kiss, lacking close family to notice her absence. Lawsuits from Julianne Paschak and Elizabeth Komaromi accusing Kiss of marriage fraud collapsed due to their absence. Despite evidence implicating Kiss in 30 murders, only one victim found in metal containers was identified. Mrs. Stephen Toth shared her daughter Margaret's story. Margaret accused Kiss of breaking his promise after Mrs. Toth provided marriage funds. Kiss claimed Margaret had angrily left for America. Dr. Nagy unraveled Kiss's scheme. In 1906, Kiss coerced Margaret to write a fake rejection letter, strangled her, concealed her body, and sent the letter to her mother. In 1916, Dr. Nagy's attempt to find Béla Kiss led to a surprising discovery. The man marked as Kiss in a hospital was deceased but wasn't him. Somehow, Kiss had foreseen it and replaced the body with another soldier's. Dr. Nagy disseminated information across Hungary, alerting the nation that the monster of Szentkoda was still at large. Tips flooded in from various regions. Subsequently, multiple sightings of Béla Kiss surfaced in different parts of the world. There were claims of spotting the serial killer walking along a Budapest street in 1919. 5 years later, around 1920, a vigilant member of the French Foreign Legion visited a police station to report a fellow legionnaire he suspected might be Kiss. This man, identifying himself as Hoffman, an alias Kiss had used, boasted about his expertise with a garrote. Authorities promptly went to question Hoffman at his unit, only to discover that he had absconded without any prior notice. Various accounts surfaced. A Hungarian soldier alleged Béla Kiss was imprisoned in Romania for burglary, while another claimed he succumbed to yellow fever in Turkey. In 1932, a New York City homicide detective named Henry Oswald claimed to have sighted Béla Kiss leaving the Times Square subway station. However, the massive crowd in Times Square hindered Oswald from pursuing the suspect. Following Oswald's report, some believed that Kiss, then in his late 60s, was residing in New York. By 1936, rumors circulated that Kiss worked as a janitor in an apartment building. Police sought to interview him but found that the janitor had vanished, leaving no trace. The case of Béla Kiss remains an enigmatic and haunting chapter in the annals of criminal history. Despite intense investigations and numerous reported sightings across continents, the true fate and activities of this elusive serial killer remain shrouded in mystery. From his macabre collection of preserved bodies to his intricate web of deceit, Kiss left behind a legacy of terror that still lingers. His cunning evasion of authorities and the tales of his purported sightings paint a picture of a man who seemingly slipped through the grasp of justice, leaving a trail of unanswered questions. Though various speculations arose about his whereabouts and alleged sightings persisted, conclusive evidence eluded investigators. The saga of Béla Kiss remains a testament to the lingering uncertainty surrounding the fate of a notorious figure whose true actions may forever remain hidden in the shadows of time. The case of Béla Kiss stands as a chilling reminder of the complexities and mysteries that often envelop some of history's most intriguing and unsettling figures, leaving behind a legacy that continues to captivate and perplex to this day. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's mysteries. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment as we continue to unearth the enigmatic stories that have shaped our world. Until the next episode, this is Kat from Claws and Crime Chronicles, signing off.